Hello.
Just quit saying hello, or I'm going to out you because I know who you are.
What's up, fellas? Fucking
This is Officer X. This is Officer X, who is
Officer X. What's up?
What's going on, Officer X?
Give us a little brief introduction for Officer X.
This is the legal authority who is a regular on RVD radio that we do on Wednesday nights here on Blog Talk Radio. Officer X, very loyal friend, very big wrestling fan, and also he's the official word. He's there for us to refer to when it comes to laws or society behavior every show. So glad you called in, Officer X.
Yeah, Sandman. I met you a few times over the years at a show, and then most recently in Allentown. I was there with Bob Backlund, and I was talking to you and Tommy. I don't know if you remember or not.
Yeah. Me and Rob had discussed it. What do you think about the legalization of marijuana, officer?
I mean, it's I don't really have much of an opinion on the Massachusetts decriminalized it, which is a step in the right direction. But I agree with a lot of Rob makes a lot of sense with several points. I mean, the addiction stuff, and I think that there's bigger fish to fry in this world than marijuana. When there's not enough prison cells to put guys in that rape children, you're putting guys in for little bits of marijuana. The priorities are really screwed up. And if somebody's deathly ill with cancer or something, I can't see what the harm is in them smoking a joint.
Right. I separate the argument into three different categories. There's material, which Sandman opened up by talking about hemp. According to Jack Herer is the man. He's the guy that outed all this information on hemp. There's a book called The Emperor Wears No Clothes. I highly recommend it. Jack Herer has been pushing the issue. He outed all the government propaganda, and he says until about 100 years ago, he says 80% of everything was made of hemp. A lot of people think about, cotton, or they think T-shirts, maybe some wood, paper. No, everything. I mean, the carpet, not just the walls, the plaster on the walls, the paint on the plaster. Hemp is like the most resourceful seed on our planet. You can eat it. Henry Ford made a car out of hemp and introduces the World Fair in 1941. It ran on hemp seed oil, and had DuPont not recently got the patent for plastic, we might have gone that way. But obviously saving the planet and doing the more environmental and safer friendly thing was not in the best interest of the big conglomerate money makers. Still isn't, which is why everybody fights it. Alcohol, tobacco, cotton, pharmaceuticals. Everybody wants to see marijuana stay illegal because it threatens their business and their pockets, even though it's way safer for the planet and for us. So I separate it into these things. Material, over 25,000 products we can make from hemp. Medicinal, as Officer X just said, if you're dying, it can help. I believe, that almost any adult, could throw away their Prozac, their society functioning drugs, not all of them, but like I said, up to 80% of pharmaceuticals. And then we have recreational. So those are the three arguments I have: material, medicinal, recreational, and marijuana in all categories rates higher in effectiveness and safety. I've never heard a good argument against it. Every argument I hear against it is BS every time. Last time I was on the Geraldo show, the guy opposing me, he tries to confuse the issue. He says, people want to legalize marijuana. They got all these beautiful numbers of money we can raise. They don't understand. If we legalize marijuana and prostitution and hard drugs, what about the social costs? I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Social cost is just your family members that are misinformed hating on you. But besides that, we're talking about marijuana. We're not talking about prostitution or harder drugs. No one's ever died of marijuana. You know what he says? If you think no one's ever died of drugs, you got to. I said, is this guy fooling anybody? He can't even talk about marijuana because he's got no argument. Officer X asked me one time, he goes, I got one for you. He goes, what do you say about this? I read recently that marijuana is like the number, I don't know if it was number 3 or something, cause for therapy, whatever you call, what do you call therapy when when you're forced to take it. But anyway, he said, what do you think about that? And I said, I'll tell you what I think about that. They mandate it. They mandate it for kids and in certain counties and states. If you get caught with marijuana, it's mandatory that you go to drug counseling, and then they justify their numbers by saying, see, it's an important job. They needed counseling.
That's very interesting. Now, what about the one stat that you used to tell me about? 1 acre of hemp is worth burning 4 acres of any timber that we know?
Yes, I'm glad that you listened. Right now, we make wood and paper from pulp, and we get pulp from trees. In 4.1 acres of current forestry, we get the same amount of pulp as we get from 1 acre of hemp. The trees that we mow down are an average of 20 years old. The hemp is an annual plant. You can mow the entire forest down in 1 year.
Wow.
We'll have a complete, full-grown forest in its place. Not to mention you don't have... Yeah, not to mention you don't have to use the same chemicals to break down the fibers that are bad for the environment that we currently use with wood. Hemp is safer. The carbon dioxide that it releases when you're processing it is better for the environment. All the way around, there's no reason to not do it except that certain people want to keep money in their pockets.
But I'll tell you what, though, in my professional experience and personally, by far, the worst of them all is booze. By far.
What's that?
From
the worst drug of them all is booze. By far.
Yeah.
It's not even close. And booze is the gateway drug too. It's not weed.
Marijuana.
If you're go ahead, Bob.
Okay, I was going to say marijuana is the third most used drug among Americans. I'm betting in the world, but I'm going by an American study here. Alcohol and cigarettes being the top two, marijuana being the third most commonly used drug. 43% of Americans over the age of 12 admit to have trying marijuana. So that's how they get the gateway factor in. People that have done cocaine, heroin, whatever, they say, well, did you try marijuana first? Well, yeah, I smoked pot when I was a kid. Aha, it led you to this. They don't ask them, hey, did you try alcohol, did you try cigarettes, because they're not classified as drugs, so they don't even make the equation. But the fact is, as I said, it's California's #1 cash crop. It's also the United States' #1 cash crop, generating an estimated $35 billion, all goes to the streets. We don't want that money. We don't want to take some of that and put it back into our government, instead of possibly funding a Mexican drug war.